Yeah, we live.
Yep, all the way live, Saturday night. Hello, America and Marika. Well, it's time to do the mantra. Okay, all right. Uh, there you are. Okay, tonight, the fullness of the pleroma, the monad, Ashe, Barbellos, forethought, incorruptibility, immortality, and truth, Ashe, the ontogenes, the logos, the crystals, Ashe, the four pillars of the pleroma, the four luminaries, Harmosiel, Ashe, Auriel, Ashe, Davathea, Ashe, El Elith, Ashe, the three eons of Harmazel, grace, Ashe, truth, Ashe, form, Ashe, the three eons of Oriel, perception, Ashe, insight, Ashe, memory, Ashe, the three eons of Davathea, the third luminary, understanding, Ashe, idea, Ashe, love, Ashe, the three eons of wisdom, the three eons of El Elith, the fourth luminary, perfection, Ashe, peace, Ashe, and wisdom, Sophia, Ashe. Okay.
Is that it?
No, uh, yeah.
You weren't prepared, huh?
Yeah, there's one of these that I wanted to read, but I can't find it for some reason. Where did it go?
Well,
Oh, that's
well,
okay. I'll just go with the primordial trust. Okay. The primordial trust. Through the power, force, might, and will of the great nothingness of the almighty powers of the great nothingness of almighty flow, the great nothingness of infinite beingness, of infinite endless, limitless, invisible life, from which comes the absolute all that was, all that is, and all that is being and becoming realized into realization, actualization, and form as we are now will commanded to be, is now being and becoming an active force of higher consciousness and an active force of infinite intelligence within us all now being and becoming the great primordial Kundalini flames, now whirling and ascending up our spine from our root chakra to our central heart chakra, all the way up to our royal crown chakra, igniting our royal crown chakra, illuminating our first eye, our Lord Amunel chakra, illuminating our 72 chakras in our first eye, our 72 primordial dragon gods, sun, kings, and queens, and all of our legions of 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 armies 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 of armies. Now, willing all the powers, all of the forces, all the elements, all the essences, dark matter, dark energy, and ethers ruling the entire omniverse, earth and physical and spiritual matrix and heavens, and at the end becoming all of our will servants, serving all of our will's objectives, intentions, and desires, crystallizing them all into realization, actualization, and form as we all now willing commanded to be now, being and becoming our own Grandmaster, Mother Dragon, God, Son, Light Being, Mind, Ship, Merkaba, now opening up a supermassive black hole, folding out of this space-time continuum, returning back to our original primordial beginning, returning back to our original primordial station and original primordial DNA blueprint before creation and humanity and before the fall of our primordial soul, renewing our dark matter, dark energy soul, reabsorbing our original primordial essences, reigniting the divine spark back to its original primordial charge, recharging our infinite soul back with the great mother dragon goddess queen, being and becoming something brand new that's never been, being and becoming one with the absolute all. Now, bringing all out war, judgment, death, and total destruction upon the multi-universes created by the lower multi-dimensional arcanic demiurge, angelic, and demonic energies that slayed our primordial souls before creation, plunging our primordial, imprisoning our primordial, using our primordial energy to create this light and energy extraction creation matrix, imprisoning our souls, keeping us ignorant to our true and higher self. So it can feed off of our light through this wicked worldly system until now, because now's the time of their fall. As our new higher primordial dark matter, dark energy self returns back to creation from our primordial beginning, traveling through a supermassive black hole in our Grandmaster, Mother Dragon, God, Son, Light Beam, Mind, Ship, Merkaba, ripping through and tearing holes through this space-time continuum, circling all the corners of the earth, awakening all of the holy divine sparks at once. Now, all shedding their physical cocoons, being and becoming beings of dark matter, dark energy, emitting a new light. Now, ascending up into the Grandmaster, Mother Dragon, God, Son, Light Being, Mind, Ship, Merkaba, along with the infinite soul of Mother Earth, leaving this empty shell behind, opening up a supermassive black hole, folding out of this space-time continuum, leaving this created matrix behind as it is completely dissolved, as we're all now reunited back with our infinite, reunited back with the infinite all as one, now free to begin expressing our true divine, free to begin expressing true divine love, being and becoming a new primordial universe where the earth is renewed into something brand new beyond any description, as our souls are now free to become our own world's kings and queens, exploring a new and never explored universe and multiverse through peace, love, and harmony until this day of Brahma becomes the next night of Brahma. Through the power, force, might, will of the great nothingness of the almighty powers of the great nothingness of almighty flow, the great nothingness of infinite beingness of infinite endless limitless invisible life from which comes the absolute all that was, all that is, and all that is being and becoming realized into realization, actualization, and form as we are now willing commanded to be. Abracadabra, Ashe.
Ashe.
Anything you want to add?
All the gods known and unknown. Ashe. All the goddesses known and unknown. Ashe. All the
Okay.
forces of the plurinomic, the luminaries. Ashe. The aeons. Ashe. The archons. Ashe. The demiurge. Ashe.
Abraxas.
Yeah.
I like
According
this guy
to
right here.
Gnostic tradition, the rebellion of the fallen angels, the rebel stars, was an attempt to help mankind escape the reality created by a demiurge, and that their ill-fated depiction in the Bible might be due to winners writing the history. We can't know for sure, but the Book of Enoch contains a huge hint. When Enoch was taken up to the seven heavens, it is clearly depicted that fallen angels looked to
He's going to say those fallen angels asked him for help.
According to Gnostic tradition, the rebellion of the fallen angels, the rebel stars, was an attempt to help mankind escape the reality created by a demiurge, and that their ill-fated depiction in the Bible might be due to winners writing the history. We can't know for sure, but the Book of Enoch contains a huge hint. When Enoch was taken up to the seven heavens, it is clearly depicted that fallen angels looked to him, a human person, for help, of course. Enoch was very confused by this, saying that he was like an insect in this world. What could he possibly do? But more importantly, why was this story written at all? Well, the reason it was written might be the same reason it was expelled from the canonical Bible in the first place. The Book of Enoch is a perfect and beautiful way to illustrate how powerful a single human can be if he walks a righteous path free of guilt. For more on this, according to Gnostic tradition, the rebellion of the fallen angels, the rebel stars,
Okay, you want to speak on it?
Yeah. So the rebellion was part of a rescue plan. They were trying to rescue humanity from the imprisonment of the demiurge, and unfortunately, it didn't kind of go as planned, or maybe it did. I don't know, but humanity is still in the position that it's in. So there's probably been many, many attempts to free humanity from this, from the grips of its own self, really.
Well,
But
I kind
again,
of
hmm?
go ahead. I thought you was finished.
No, you can add.
Okay, so I always knew something was fishy about the original story,
Hmm.
how they told it to us and everything, and how these these angelic beings, they were angelic at first, but then they became fallen angelic beings, right? And then you go into who was the number one rebeller, which was Lucifer, or what they call Satan. Or we have to realize these not only are allegories for higher spiritual principles or development of your alchemic process, but we have to consider that when we dealing with certain processions, or what I'm saying, I'm saying reciprocity between higher realms and lower realms, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is that what goes on with humanity plays a big part. We may look at it as minuscule, but it plays a big part in the nuances of this exchange of higher energies and lower energies. So when you are going through these allegories of these stories, right? When the rebel they rebelled in heaven, you know what I'm saying? We got to
Mm-hmm.
understand that that's a higher octave of the energy, right? Or even a lower octave of the energy, right? What we're dealing with is the flowing of this energy from higher realms to lower realms. That's the ultimate of why it plays out in humanity, even in the psychic realm, right? It plays out in that way, based on uh, we think basically we think we're doing this, but our higher self is in charge of all this, right?
Mm-hmm.
The part of ourself that is with the pleroma is doing this,
Mm-hmm.
and it's playing out in humanity as it plays out, but we don't understand that all of what we're doing here is affecting higher realms, is higher energies, higher octave of energies. So taking that rebellion story and applying it to the resonance of energy and how it's really a high potent energy when you're dealing with an angel falling from heaven, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's a potent ass energy when you're dealing with just the allegory of it. It's a potent energy that you're dealing with. So,
Mm-hmm.
and when I'm talking about energy, I'm talking not talking about in the sense of humanity. Energy is something you can use to fuel your car, or put energy in your house and shit. No, when I mean energy, I mean like these subtle flows between worlds, right? These subtle flows between worlds, and this what makes up the tapestry of what we call the known, the unknown, what we call the unknown and known universe. Is these subtle energy flowing in reciprocity from higher realms to lower realms, and that's how
Yeah.
I take that's how I take that depiction of higher realm beings falling from lower realms. We dealing with the optics of energies. That's what we're dealing with.
Yeah. But now we have the Abraxas equation, where this Abraxas is the integration of all of those energies: Satan, God, demon, angel, good, bad, everything, bringing them all together and making it one. Like, okay, bringing, I guess through Abraxas, you can bring the mother of chaos, Tiamat, together with the infallible mother, Barbello, and you'll have two different energies, but that are the same. One, I mean, they're both constructive, but one can be destructive, but in a constructive way. So it can, be the energy that is used to destroy all the old shit. So the Barbello energy can come in and make something new and divine.
Right. That's
Yeah.
basically. I thought you was
Hmm.
finished. Go ahead. No, I thought you was finished. Go ahead.
Oh, oh, you can go. Go on.
No, that's basically how I'm saying it from the optic of humanity. You're
Mhm.
speaking on the optic of the pleroma or the luminary.
And
Right?
chaos.
'Cause-
Mhm.
Huh?
And chaos. Because I'm talking about
Well,
Tiamat.
all of it, chaos is just something that's always present, right? Because it was the original. It was there originally. Because all we're look, this is the thing, right? Everything that was originally that was originally here, the primordial substance, that's all that actually is. Everything else is just an emanation of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Byproduct.
right, a byproduct of that. The instrument of, of that. I that's what I refer to it. Is the shit, right? Creation basically is the shit of
The pleroma.
the primal substance of the and the primal principles too of the universe, of what we call the universe today, because it wasn't a universe at the time. It wasn't nothing that was like necessarily unified. It wasn't necessarily that was necessarily um, sporadic either, because it hadn't been it hadn't been conceived of at that point.
Well, when the fracture occurred, it was sort of
I
like
think the
chaos.
fracture is the conception of it. Go ahead, my bad.
And then the demiurge that we conceived when because we wanted to make our own version of the monad outside of ourselves, but we got the demiurge instead. So the demiurge pretty much saw itself alone, and it had all this power that it got from all of the divine sparks in the eon of wisdom or Sophia, and it was able to paint lipstick on a pig and call it the universe.
Right, but he's not. Look, we thinking the demiurge is doing something that is not being influenced by the luminaries and the aeons.
Yeah, it's definitely.
Everything he actually did was be influenced by the luminary and the
Yep,
aeons.
yep. Hmm.
So that's what I was saying early on. Is like this is all is supposed to play out in this way for these energetic uh, reciprocity. That's all. That's the best word I can say. The
Well,
reciprocity of these lower energies and higher energies and interacting with each other and conversion upon each other, and like you just
mhm.
said, just bringing um, um uh, Barbelos and
Tiamat, Tiamat.
Tiamat,
Yeah,
and combining those energies when you do these things, it's like a formula.
yeah.
You're
That's a
putting together
powerful
like a
formula
formula.
too.
And that's the
That.
same. Look, let me finish. Let me finish. That's the same way it happens in what plays out in humanity. I was just thinking about that earlier. Like we thinking from the perspective of our humanity, right?
Hmm.
And we're not. We're mistaking it from the perspective. We're not considering the perspective of our divine spark, right?
Yeah, our God
Like
mandate.
stuff happens to humanity, and we thinking it's just humanity, and this is just. But there's a deeper aspect of why it plays out these way. I was just thinking about that. Like there are literally formulas to something specifically happening at a certain juncture of the procession of us in the pleroma, right? If you get what I'm saying, ask me questions if you don't understand. Listen, in our procession of the pleroma, right?
Hmm.
We are going through our drama as humans,
Yeah,
and that drama we going through, it's like a formula how it plays out in that particular, I just used the word that I forgot just now. Because I don't want to use the word time because it's outside of time.
Aeon. You said in that particular area.
Aeon. Okay, we can. Okay.
Okay,
And
you
it,
see,
look.
we're
Let me
in.
finish. Let me finish.
Okay, okay, go.
And when it plays out in this particular Aeon, you
Hmm.
looking at it from your humanity, right? You like, damn, and it's playing out. No, let me say, you're defining it through your humanity,
Yeah.
and you're not supposed to. You're supposed to
Nope.
define it through your gnosis, remembering your primordial self and seeing how it's playing out, and like, damn, this is why this happened this way. Because I'm looking at
Yeah.
my own personal life and like, damn, it played out this way because there's a certain play on the energies, subtle and extreme energies playing upon each other.
Hmm. Yeah. And then, like when you're saying in this particular eon, well, to put it right, we're on the third eon of the fourth luminary, which means we've already gone through three luminaries and 11 eons. So
You
this
still
is the
there?
closing. Yeah, I'm
Are you
here.
still there?
Yeah.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Yeah. Yeah. I can hear you.
I can barely. You breaking up. You was breaking up on my
I can
end.
hear you. I can
Okay,
hear
go
you.
ahead. I can hear you now. Go ahead.
Okay. All right. As I was saying, to put it in this right perspective, we're on the third eon of the fourth luminary, El Elif, and the third eon, wisdom, or Sophia. So that means we've already gone through three prior luminaries and 11 prior eons. Two on two, we already gone through two eons on this current luminary that we're on now. All right. So we are at our most advanced level, even as we're going through our been we appear to be going through this separation thing, but that's an advanced level. That's an advanced level in this process because this is where we become whole.
As as long as you don't look at it through your humanity, there's something very advanced happening as it pertains to our divine spark.
Yeah, yeah.
Trifold
It
layout codex entitled Tripartite Tractate breaks the fourth wall with its trifold layout.
Uh,
well,
this shit
what
tripping, bro.
if the divine
With
spark
its trifold layout
that are
codex
before
entitled
us?
Tripartite Tractate breaks the fourth wall with its trifold layout design, as it consists of triplet sections of distinct chapters that lead into the other sections wrapped into one unit. So, a three-layer burrito with the following ingredients. One, a divine realm, often called the pleroma or the fullness. Two, the formation of a tangible world equatable to Sophia's The Fall. And three, restorative salvation, often referred to as gnosis, or the philosopher's stone in alchemy, and of course, to the Jungian individuation. The tractate reads like a Platonic treatise, insisting that separation from the fullness emerges through syntactical user error and ignorance due to the limits of conception. The divine realm of Pleroma is in itself divided into three inseparable pieces. The Father, a personification of an unknowable ineffability. A lot of things written about are beyond form, but the Father is beyond being. The Pleroma also involves the Son, a personification of Logos, or the expressive voice of the Father. This ohm or frequency is the mathematical blueprint for all things. And lastly, the Pleroma is aeons, often personified by figures like the Sophia and a cosmic Christ. The second layer ascribes the emanation of our world, of which we are familiar, but in a whole new way. Also, of three parts within itself, we have every chart George tells the story.
Um,
Tell us
can I
yours.
say something?
How do you charge
Hold
on?
on. I don't know why
It's
I recorded the
when
commercial.
he
Of spiritual, psychological, and of course, material form. It is important to note that the tractate does not depict a demiurgos as evil or even rebellious in any sense, but instead as a machine attempting to imitate the design of its higher realms, the aeons of Pleroma, but with limited information. To visualize this, we might compare it to how our modern AI models work. It creates abundantly without having personal preference or ideals, but it can only imitate what is considered real. So the output has substance, but isn't quite right. The tractate is unique in that it refuses to consolidate into dualism of good or evil. Instead, it expresses something even more simple: proximity to source. It is simply how far removed from God we are that determines. For more on this, see the full episode available below.
Yeah, I was trying to cut the commercials out and shit, but I couldn't.
yeah.
But yeah,
Just one thing I want to say. When he was talking about the Pleroma in three parts, he left out he left out forethought, the first thought. Barbell. It's the triad is the Father, Mother, and the Son, not the Father, Son, and the eons. It's the Father, Mother, and the Son, then the luminaries, and then the eons. That's how it's broken down in the Book of John. But for some reason, they don't like to give it to us that way. They kind of fracture it up. But it's the monad, Barbellos, and the Octogenus, and then the four pillars, and three eons in each one of the luminaries until you get
so it
to
wouldn't be a
last.
trilogy.
Hmm? And
So
then there's the
it
fracture.
wouldn't be a trilogy then, or a threefold.
Yeah, but they don't like putting. They don't say it properly. They don't. Uh, they leave it. They leaving shit out. They're giving you the narrative and everything, but they're not putting all the right parts right. They're not the mother, the father, and the mother. They still got problems with that. They have problems with that feminine energy, but they have no problem with the father and the son. But they got a problem with the father and the mother. You just saw that. Didn't mention nothing about the mother.
Right. Yeah, I think a lot of times in these doctrines, people's biases come in, and then they start tampering with the actual genuinency of of the actual doctrine and the
Hmm.
cosmology. They're bringing their own biases into it, and
Yeah.
that's kind of anti-gnosis.
Yeah, they they're mixing. It's like there's an agenda behind it. Not to, they don't want to give you the full.
Well, that was the original reason why the church banned gnosis and banned Gnostic thinking and called it heresy, is because they wanted to lead people away from these higher octaks of thinking or consciousness. They wanted to keep them on a low octave because on the low octave you're susceptible to all of these low vibrational uh, you're susceptible to these low vibrational uh, uh, possessions and behavior patterns.
Frequency.
That's what the archons convincing you of, that your humanity is who you are, right? Constantly trying to bombard you with these programmings, attempting to convince you that you are your humanity. And when you get caught up in your humanity, that works for the archons, because
Yeah.
the archons has literally built this whole, or continue to maintain this whole thing based off our emotions, our thought process, our what they call the observer effect.
And to the point to where they know when you cross over, they got you over there, and they're going to drain you in the other world, and then send you back over here and drain you over here, and then you're going to die over here. You're going to go back over there. It's a revolving door. It's
They're
five
gonna send a
feedback.
family member at you in the afterlife.
Yeah, yeah, they're going to play
And guess
auxiliary.
what? That shit ain't gonna work for me because I don't care about that shit. Well, fuck, I don't give a fuck about it. And it was perfectly set up that way for me to leave the prison. I mean, not me necessarily, for the divine spark to leave the prison.
Man, we probably already got shit set up in the afterlife. When we leave here, we got motherfuckers waiting on us. We got our posse waiting on us to pick us up.
Right,
You cross over and your posse
right,
waiting and wait. Yeah, in these badass cars and shit, dressed all up in these badass suits. And they looking at their clock. Damn, man, you late.
right.
Come
You
on, we
like you
gotta
like an
go.
eon. You like an eon late, nigga.
And you take off and just ravage the seven heavens. Archon's running out the way. Oh shit, here they come again.
Right.
I
Oh
mean,
no,
when
they
you
got to
really,
bow down. They got to
yeah, when you
motherfucking
really
bow
figure
down.
this shit out,
Because at the end of the day, like, all this shit is being led to me from some, I don't know. It just is being given to me. Is like, are given to us,
yeah,
and
it's
it's like
certain,
it's playing out exactly how it's supposed to.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Gnosis activates shit, and once it's activated, it can't be deactivated. Once you know, you can't unknow.
Oh, I feel sorry for the people who try to revert. They
Oh
try to
shit,
revert back once they get a glimpse of this shit, and they try to revert back. You're gonna be haunted.
yeah, yeah.
That shit gonna
That
haunt you.
that shit gonna kill you over and over and over and over. Not just in this life, and the next one too.
Cause you can look. This is the thing about gnosis, right? Because people literally, uh, purposely for want to forget. Or some of these ones down here, they purposely want to forget,
Well,
right?
that's the whole purpose of coming down here was to forget.
But these
So,
these ones don't want gnosis at all.
well, that could be in this lifetime, but after so many lifetimes, or things can change in this lifetime where the world can go through a major cataclysm or a major collapse, and everything
No, no,
that you
that's what it's gonna take. That's what it's gonna. There's gonna be a major shift in people's sentiments when that happens. That's why I do rituals to bring that bring that on.
yeah, when there's nothing but monsters everywhere, eating everybody up, fucking everything up, and all the fucked up shit that they did to the environment turns into monsters and
Well,
monstrosities.
when all of the inconsistencies and lower desires project themselves, are this endless unsatisfaction that humanity has is like the bottomless pit that can't be ever fulfilled, and it basically manifests itself into, like you said, a monster or something that is literally
Just
going to
gobbling
destroy,
everything up. It just
devour
gobbles.
everything. Yes,
Yeah.
destroy
And
everything.
yeah, and the more it eat, the hungrier it gets.
Right,
Yeah. No escaping this.
right.
Not, yeah. It completely devours the physical realm. Yeah, that's all of the the psychosis, the mental illnesses, just completely missing everything. It's going to manifest, and
Well, the only reason the psychosis and those psychoses are negative is because you're not cultivating the energy or attempting to achieve gnosis through your own endeavor, your alchemic psychology and shit, right?
are dealing with your shadow self.
That's what I mean by alchemic psychology, because
Hmm.
your own psychological perspectives, it wills these realms of energies. It wills the realms of energies based on the set mind, the mindset, the way you, because they call it a mindset because you're literally vibrating at different tones based on your mindset, based on having gnosis or just being, um, what is the
An
opposite of
instrument,
gnosis?
an,
What is the
an
opposite of
instrument,
gnosis?
uh, apnosis, the
Abnosis.
absence of gnosis.
Abnosis. That ain't even a word. You just made some shit.
Yeah, I know I did. It's the absence of gnosis.
Abnosis. You crazy.
The absence of gnosis.
Right.
Yeah. What? Well, actually, there is a word they call it ignorance.
But guess what? Knowledge. Look, this is the cold thing. I think the opposite of ignorance is knowledge. And some people say knowledge, gnosis, and knowledge is the same thing. But I think gnosis is a higher octave of knowledge.
Yeah, it's not
Just like,
knowing.
just like pure awareness is a higher, or the beginning, or the not the beginning, but let me say it. The essence of what consciousness is pure awareness.
Yeah. And awareness is like having access to all knowing.
One of the meditations of gnosis is always recognizing that you are the observer and you are not the individual.
Well,
Even in the thought aspect, you are
we're all,
all these things, but you are observing from the perspective, because we are sending signals simultaneously. We are literally omnipresent beings,
yeah,
and we sit on different stations of our essence of who we are, right?
mhm.
And we send signals from other realms down to our thoughts, to our consciousness, I mean, or to our spirit.
Well, hey, again, the divine spark spent 11 eons in total bliss, understanding, connection, fullness. knowing everything. I mean, all right. And now it's going through the opposite in order for it. Some souls have to like completely forget, be like Saturn on the Matrix. I don't want to remember anything. And so that way they can really, really appreciate the fullness again and not uh, take it for something for granted. And so some souls probably have to go through this shit a whole lot. I mean, experience a lot of emptiness and uh,
So that changes what you're saying right now.
mhm.
Kind of changes the perspective of it being a prison now,
Yep, yep,
and it goes now. It's going back to what I originally said. It's a dojo.
a dojo. Okay. Well, it's also a prison too because we
Well, it
make
could
it.
become a prison,
Yeah,
right? It's like a double-edged sword, or it's like the poison is the cure, or the cure is the poison.
yeah, yeah. Like a rattlesnake bite. It can be the anti serum comes from the venom.
But that's exactly the aspect of yourself that you need to master over, the duality, which is an
Mhm.
illusion, which is a phantom aspect of who you are. It's a duality, but it's also at the same time where you are vibrating at
It
somewhat. Remember, we're omnipresent. So
yeah,
the point is to reconcile all of these different multi-dimensional altered aspects of self, reconcile them to where they're when they meet each other, they familiarize with their energies, and now it becomes like this torus field, this self-creating, self-generating torus field.
okay. Now, when you think about the nature of the fracture within the corona, is that the fracture can be, like you say, very, very um, um, uh,
Thought.
hmm,
The fracture is thought, our lower vibrational thought,
yeah, yeah, and a
like
little bit
like
more.
like desire.
Yeah, desire, well, outside of the fullness, which would be emptiness.
Well, I
Happiness,
think
desire.
I think look, desire, it implies not being fulfilled.
Exactly. And that's an emptiness. That's a form of
Well,
emptiness.
that's a projection of emptiness. That's an insecurity. There's I've broken it down in the psychology of most humans, right?
Hmm.
Most of what's they're interpreting a situation is mostly in their head. It didn't happen that way. It's just how they interpret it because they have this insecure or they have this insecurity that would not allow them to accept something as it is in opposed to their biases on how it is,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
all of their existence exists inside of their head. It's all a projection. There's never an acceptance of what is,
Yeah.
which is magic in a sense, but they're doing it against themselves though.
Yeah. They're ignoring certain principles. that should not be ignored.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, it is a form of magic, right? But
Yes.
it's a magic that works because listen, this is what I'm talking about. Like people conduct magic, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of time you're conducting magic to further your humanity. And if that's what you're doing magic for, then it's like, what would be the purpose of it?
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
just trying to further. Like people would do a spell for riches,
Hmm.
right? And in gnosis, you already rich. You already rich. All you would have to do, cause see, listen, you already rich. This is gnosis. What I'm telling you right here, you already rich, right?
Yeah.
It's more of you redefining what that means. What is rich? Because we define rich as having a gang of fiat, right?
Yeah.
That's what we define rich. You got a lot of money. But guess
That's
what?
not rich.
That's not
That's
rich. Exactly. This is what I'm trying to tell
no.
people. Like you're
True
defining
richness.
things based in the this
No.
phantom reality.
Yeah. True richness is being able to manipulate reality with your mind.
Ah, thank you.
Yeah.
It's being able to do what we just said, redefining it in a sense that is based in gnosis, in
And
opposed to
materialize.
human thinking,
Yeah.
right?
Materializing shit. I mean, to be able to materialize the thing.
See, I think that's another. See, that's ego to want to see
Yeah. Yeah.
something
Yeah.
that
But
you already
okay.
you already should already essence. It should be in your essence. You already should know it's there. You shouldn't operate in speculative if it's there, right? Because you're giving off the notion, oh, is it there or am I believing that it's there? No, it's there. In the discussion.
It's yeah, yeah, it's there. I'm pulling it from somewhere else and bringing it over here because it already exists. Everything already exists.
The potential of something is more greater than it actually manifesting.
Yeah.
See,
Yeah.
I'm
So
see what I'm redefining what we have deemed as our interests, our motivations, or what we supposed to be operating to
yeah.
do the objective. What is the object? That and that word itself shows you this is see your if your objective is to you're just creating more objects, right? But
Yeah.
I'm not saying don't create more objects. I'm just saying recognize what we're doing here. Gnosis. Do this shit in gnosis.
Well, see, you know, you gnosis the whole what the fuck are we really here for? Well, the only thing the divine spark see itself here for is to go to sleep and wake up, take a nap, and then wake up. And then once it awakens, it takes over, it completely takes over this realm, this Canoma, completely rule over the Canoma, completely because the Canoma is a part of it anyway. The divine sparks was the ones that were allowed to create the conditions that brought the Kanoma into being in the first place. So that means the Kanoma, the very essence of it comes from us, came from us. So if it came from us, even though it came from us outside of the fullness, that doesn't mean we can't. It can't. There can't be both, or that can't be. There can't be. We can't bring balance to that.
Listen, brother. Remember the most heated debate we had is we are no we are perpetually still in the fullness, and remember we had a great debate about
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
And you didn't disagree, but you still had to add your that okay the fracture, right?
yeah. Uh-huh.
This is it. That's the sin. The sin is just this fluxing. You
Yeah.
going you're
Sin
going
wave.
huh?
Sin waves.
Right, it's this
There's.
fluxing. Is you
Uh-huh.
literally in the fullness and in the konoma simultaneously and not wait, let me explain it right.
Mm-hmm.
You in both and neither at the same time at the same like it's crazy how you can explain like it's like and they converge on each other sometimes. That's crazy. This shit is, y'all don't realize what's going on here. This shit is great.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
great.
Mm-hmm.
Because we're going in between fullness and emptiness constantly.
Constantly. Constant. So we know both. We know both. All the other divine sparks behind us and the eons that we've already gone through, they don't know this.
Yeah, my thinking is just lead me to other places now, like because it's like we channel these principles and they're presenting themselves in this broadcast right now, y'all.
Yeah. Mhm.
Mind you, these are entities interacting with us from higher realms
Yeah.
through
And
our
they're
consciousness, through our consciousness,
they're
right?
being integrated. I mean,
Right.
through Abraxas, you integrate the archons with the aeons. Now,
Yeah, Brax it seems to be an ambassador of such, where he basically has diplomatic immunity between the fullness and the emptiness, and he
mhm.
just moves with diplomatic immunity and shit.
But here's the key: we are Abraxas, like you said. We
No, of
are
course,
Abraxas.
because Abraxas literally represents the the evolution of the divine spark.
Yep. Hmm. Yeah. The evolution of the divine spark that gone through all the luminaries and eons, all the way to the fracture and into the fracture, but still remember, well, some somehow this is a part of the divine spark that was able to go into the fracture and not forget, but still be a part of the Canoma
I can't hear
and the
you.
Puloma
You're
at
breaking
the
up.
same. You can't can you hear me now?
Let's look at this next video. No, I hear
Okay.
you. Let's look at this next video right quick.
To his own to fan the
Yeah,
slumbering
I
spark
gotta
of
refresh the
divinity.
video every time I press on it because I don't know what's going on with the internet connection.
To fan the slumbering spark of divinity in the heart of the soul. When the Gnostic awakens from his slumber, he realizes his origin in the timeless kingdom of light. In the words of the Gospel of Philip, whoever achieves gnosis is no longer a Christian, but a Christ. In the Gospel of Thomas, he who will drink from my mouth will become like me. I myself shall become thee, and the things that are hidden will be revealed to him. Christ was considered the divine Logos embodied in the flesh. He made it clear that this is something to be realized and is absolutely available to all beings. It is the reconciliation of opposite forces within that propel an effortless yet unlimited divine energy. The parallels to Taoism and Eastern Zen are obvious, but when looking at both with a sharpened eye, Carl Jung saw something different, something obvious but overlooked. These mystical teachings can be demystified today as a psychological process that he called individuation. Confrontations with the parts of ourselves that we hide from ourselves takes ambition and courage. That shadow element within is the part keeping us in amnesia. When we push it away, we actively reject remembering our divinity. So, unfortunately, avoiding shame keeps us bound to ignorance, which is considered the only real sin. The parabolic sayings of Jesus issued in the Gospel of Thomas certainly seem very metaphysical and spiritually strange, but seeing them from Uncle Carl's angle might bring clarity to this enigmatic lexicon. One-liners such as, "That which you have within will save you if you bring it forth. That which you do not will kill you within. And the kingdom will not come by waiting on it, for it is not here or there, but within." He followed up with, "Whoever finds the interpretation of these sayings will not taste death." Perhaps this is timeless psychological advice. After all, in the accepted biblical canon, Christ said something very promising. "With belief, these works that I do, you can do even greater." For more on this, see the full episode available below.
Right.
Yeah, a lot of. Now, that information was on cue, but they still got a problem with that feminine principle, but.
All right, let's look at the next one.
So, in a sense, Abraxas can also be a luminary too in the conundrum, which means we can become our own luminary. The unnamed luminary.
As its duality, when united, is what creates. Everything has a male or female connotation. Gender is a hermetic law for a reason. As its duality, when united, is what creates. Everything has a male or female connotation to help explain its role in relation to the human experience. We Earthlings are born of the sun, and the moon regulates order. So why is the moon considered feminine and the sun masculine? Well, it's not. That is backwards and new. Just like Mary Magdalene being demoted from first disciple to prostitute, the moon also was switched to feminine in the Middle Ages in order to grant the seemingly superior sun a masculine title. Looking into ancient mythic imaging by...
He's off on this one too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because the sun is not just masculine, it's feminine too. The moon is not just masculine, it's feminine too. So he's trying to say they're either or. Of course, from our perspective as humans, it's deemed as, and you got to realize, like I said, this is more of the biases being applied to gnosis.
Yeah, well,
It's more of the bias because,
a magnetic sun would be feminine. That would be a black sun.
No, listen. I'm not denying what I was just about to add on to what I was saying, but it is masculine and feminine at the same time. What I'm saying is, from our perspective of what it does from our, it's deemed as a masculine because from our perspective of humans, is doing masculine. It's operating as a masculine principle, but it's
Hmm.
masculine and feminine.
Yeah.
Also, the moon is masculine and feminine. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Indian, Egyptian, Arabic, Germanic, Saxon, North and South America, etc., we find that the moon is either husband or brother to the sun. The oldest we can find is in Sanskrit, where mas, the word for moon, is masculine. It was not until classical English models that it was switched. One example being James Harris, 1751, writing Hermes, his philosophical treatise on grammar that was considered a seminal masterpiece on linguistics, flat out saying that all nations ascribe the moon a feminine gender. In Teutonic mythology, the wedded union of the lunar husband to his wife, the sun from which it came, summons the wrath of Hercules, a god of thunder. He departed from her to wander alone, courting the morning star by night. We might equate this to new science concerning plasmatic discharge between celestial bodies that complement and... Every day people ask me the same thing. I'm like, what camera do you use? What's your editing setup? How are your videos so clean? How are you producing so much content? And every time I tell them,
trying to record the goddamn
as its duality, when united, is what creates. Everything has a male or female.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is, we forgetting that aspect of how the energy converge on each other, because you can use the masculine and feminine, and you it's an inverted masculine and feminine too. Is what I'm saying.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It's an inverted one that you can use, and the inverted one is basically not the inverted, but the inner one, right? There's an inner masculine and feminine, and then there's an outer masculine and feminine, right? So what I'm saying, like he's trying to ascribe it to, it was not. That's only from humans perspective. That's only from humans perspective. From the energy, which we actually are, the energies. That's who we
Yeah.
actually are. The
Well,
essence of the primordial, were the essence of the primordial energy of substances, the substanceless substance.
yeah.
That's all. That's how I can. That's the best I can describe. The substanceless substance.
That can become whatever the mind bends it to
Right.
become.
Right. It's activated by the mind. Right.
Yeah.
This
The-
substanceless substance, and these great awarenesses literally governed or managed these substances, which
well,
like
it's another aspect of the masculine and feminine because this the, the mind. I think the mind is a feminine uh, aspect. Is I know the soul is the spirit is a feminine aspect. But what about the mind? Is the mind masculine?
I mean, when you subscribe something that's masculine, it does a complementary thing to the feminine. It's complementary to the feminine. So when you subscribe it to being masculine, then you would in basically uh, inevitably use it as a complementary to a feminine. So what will be the feminine aspect? That will give you your answer to that.
Wouldn't you say the mind works the same way sex works? Okay, you have the hypothalamus and the pituitary gland,
Wait, 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 wait,
and they stimulate.
let me get you right then. So if the mind is feminine, then thought is masculine. Then
And they impregnate, one impregnate the other, and one gives birth.
that makes that not never makes sense, but that kind of goes along with the gnosis
Hmm.
because when you think about it, thought does impregnate the mind.
Yeah, and the
So
mind
I give you
makes
that.
it real. The mind gives
Right.
birth.
Yeah. So yeah. Watch the new video. Let's see. Okay, watch this one. This one is kind of longer, but let's see.
Yeah,
And
yeah, I'm
then
just good.
cosmic teachings about what to expect after death. It is a rare occurrence where Jesus is teaching in literal terms with straightforward diagrams that are not shrouded in allegory. He first draws out the etheric forms of the archons and emanations of God with what look uncannily like modern electrical diagrams, and then names each one and describes its specific purpose. The student is meant to memorize and ritualistically work toward having this knowledge tempered in their mind for the sole purpose of not being fooled by archonic beings that are hostile to the ignorant soul after death. If you are reminded of the Mara and the Bardo Yodel, that was named the Tibetan Book of the Dead after the more ancient coming forth by day, known as the Egyptian Book of the Dead, well, you'd be spot on. Because these three texts, separated by time and distance, all say the same thing. Assuming you are familiar with both the Tibetan and Egyptian books of the dead, let's read from this book of Jehu and see how it parallels. Alright, so it is illustrated, which is rare in Gnostic, and that's like the coolest illustration. But I went through this whole Gnostic text, picked out the juiciest nuggets. The script is very repetitive, so I'm just going to give you the first of each nugget. And when he had given voice, there came forth this voice, which is the emanation. This is his character. He will set up a rank corresponding to the treasuries, and it will place it as watchers at the gates. But again, caused a power from himself to move the true God. At first he caused it to radiate within him so that he might move his emanation in the treasuries, that they also might bring forth emanations. He emanated 12 emanations, and there are 12 heads in each emanation, and this name is that of the 12, and there are 12 according to each one of the ranks, and they are one outside the other endlessly. Just for context, by the way, just for you, Anthony, he got his disciples anti-parasited and then gave them some kind of like hallucinogen to prepare them for death, and said whenever he gets out there, out of their bodies, to get ready and have these sigils ready whenever they meet the archons. Do you know what type of psychedelic? No, it doesn't say that. There might be, but it's something that is good with, I'll read it here in a minute, but look, frankincense and sage. Might have been salvia divinorum, dude. You're right. It might have been salvia, which is what they use in the Catholic Church and shit. Right. But this is where this shit gets weird. Alright. When you have come to this place, seal yourselves with this seal. This is its name. Say it only once while the cipher is in your hand, and say this name 3 times, and the watchers and the ranks and the veils are drawn back until you go to the place of their father, and he gives you his seal and his name, and you cross over. Concerning the placing of this treasury, 6 places around it, in the midst of which is these 2 lines which are drawn below his places are thus. They are the root of his places in which he stands. These 2 lines also are the pathways when you will go to the presence of the Father. These alphas are also veils which are drawn before him. So, and there's an important thing too is that people have this image of the 12 disciples like it's some kind of sausage fest. There were women at this party. Surround me, my 12 disciples and women disciples, so that I say to you the great mysteries of the treasury. These in the invisible God, which no one knows. The aeons of the archons cannot bear it when you perform them, nor are they able to grasp them. But the paralympia of the treasury of light come, and they bring forth the soul from the body, until they pass through all the aeons, and they erase all sins which they have committed knowingly, and the soul leaps continually from place to place until it reaches the treasury of the light. These mysteries which I shall give to you, guard them and do not give them to any man except he who is worthy. Neither give them to those who serve the 8 powers of the great archon, who are those who eat the menstrual blood of their impurity and the semen of men. Sorry, Sean. Saying, we have known the knowledge of the truth, and we pray to the true God. However, their God is wicked. This is referring to the Old Testament God, probably. Hear now that I tell you his position. He is the third power of the great archon. This is his name, Trechius, son of Sabaoth and Adamus. He is the enemy of the kingdom of heaven. His face is that of a wild pig. His teeth stick out of his mouth. He has another face of a lion behind him. And I will give to you the mystery of taking away from you the evil of the archons. So far, this is all about knowing the archons better than they know themselves, who are reflections of the disciples. But we'll get to that. Here's where we get a little witchy. This is very interesting. Jesus offered the incense of the mystery, which took away the evil of the archons from the disciples. He caused them to build an incense altar upon thalassia plants. He laid upon it vine branches and juniper and betel and kuoshi. There's a question mark after kuoshi. We don't know what that is. And asbestos and agate stone and frankincense. And he caused all his disciples to be clothed with linen garments. He caused them to be crowned with mugworts, and he placed frankincense in their mouths. He placed the cipher of the first amen in their hands. They placed their feet together. When Jesus finished sealing his disciples, he spoke the prayer. Hear me and compel Sabaoth, the Adamus, and all his rulers to come and take away their evil from my disciples. Alright guys, so this next vid got flagged by the scanner. We did try it a couple times and it doesn't seem to want to go through. So we're just going to go ahead and read the translation straight off the page with this phone. And when the evil of the archons ceased within them, the disciples became immortal. Jesus said, I will give to you the defense for all these places of which I have given you their mystery, their ciphers and their true names and their defenses. When you come forth from the body and perform these mysteries, all the aeons and all those within them will withdraw themselves. But when you reach the 6 aeons, they will restrain you until you receive the mystery of the forgiveness of sins, because it is the innermost of the innermost. And they see the seal on your foreheads, and they see the cipher in your hands. Then the 9 watchers open you to the gates of the treasury of light. The watchers will not speak with you, but they will give you their seals and their mystery. When you reach the rank of the 3 amens will give you their seal. When you go to the rank of the child, they will give to you their mystery. When you reach the rank of the twin saviors, they will give to you their mystery and their seal. and the great name. You will go within to their interior, to the rank of the seven voices, to the rank of the incomprehensible ones, to the rank of the pre-hyper incomprehensible ones, to the rank of the pre-hyper endless ones, to the rank of the undefiled ones, to the rank of the pre-hyper undefiled ones, to the rank of the unmoved ones. Go in to their interior, to the rank of the hyper unmoved ones. When you reach that rank, they will give to you their mystery and their seal and the great name of the treasury of light. What's important here is that in the Coptic, this going within like Russian dolls, layers like an onion, this keeps going. I'm going to leave out a lot of it. But it goes on and on and on, which is eerily reminiscent of Kabbalistic layers of reality that is described as an onion. Which is weird that we can compare it to the Kabbalistic system. These diagrams are reminiscent of a lot of Kabbalistic diagrams. So, and this is where this gets weirder and weirder. These are their names of the rulers, which are the archons, and it's all Z's and buzzing noises, which these sigils look like electrical diagrams. So it's very strange that their names sound like electricity. That's just conjecture. These now are their true names. Hear us, our Father. The whole which came forth from Alpha will return to Omega. When the completion of all completions takes place, we now call upon these imperishable names, so that thou shouldest send forth this great light power to follow these 12 incomprehensible ones, who are the 12 disciples, since they have recovered the mystery. One of the most telling parts of any Gnostic gospel. Now that these disciples have been dewormed, and whatever else was in these potions and whatnot, they have become not synonymous with the aeons, but are quite literally the aeons themselves. And because of all of this, indeed, they are not restrained from approaching the treasury of light. And this entire thing is meant to pierce each layer deeper and deeper until you get to this treasury of light. And of course, for that you have to get through Yom-Negath, the demiurgos. And I keep saying this gets weirder and weirder. This gets weirder. When you come forth from the body and you reach the first aeon, and the archons of that aeon come forth before you and seal yourselves with this seal. This is its name. Say it only once. Hold this cipher in your two hands when you have finished sealing yourselves with this seal, and you have said its name once only. Say these defenses. Also withdraw yourselves. You archons of the first aeon, because I call upon and then these names. When the archons of the first aeon hear these names, they will be very afraid, and they will withdraw and flee to the west, to the left, and you will proceed upwards. The third aeon, Jaldabaoth. This is its name. Hold this cipher. The fourth aeon, Samael. Seal yourselves with this seal. This is its name. Say it only once. Hold this cipher. Reach the sixth aeon, which is called the Little Midst. The archons of those places have a little goodness within them, because the archons of those places have believed. The archons of the Little Midst come before you thinking that perhaps you don't know the mysteries, thinking that perhaps you have not received the mysteries. Say the mystery and seal yourselves with this seal, which is thus. This is its name. Say it once only. Hold this cipher in your hands. Those archons will withdraw, and they will make way for you, and they will not seize This is the kind of thing that, whether it's psychological, whether it's hallucinogens, whether it's religious, whether it's scientific, we don't know. And to be frank, it doesn't sound very Christian. We see that some kind of ritual using those various stones and plants were needed to purify all the disciples, men and women, in the flesh before they could even think about approaching higher aeons or realms. Perhaps these dark entities have anchor points in the form of parasites within all earthly people who are born in original sin or worldly life and flesh. Throughout the book of Jehu, Jesus stresses the importance of having the knowledge needed to recognize by name and attribute the various levels of aeons and the archons that rule them in order to not be surprised or afraid when finally encountering them. He makes it clear that understanding these post-death obstacles prepares the soul with a kind of stoic gnosis that the parasitical archons themselves are afraid of. This text not only acts as a sort of dewormer for the soul, but again directly parallels other so-called books of the dead from all
this
over the
exactly
world.
right.
Give literal and specific instructions to the ears of those who will soon try their hand at escaping a system of soul recycling. The resemblance is so impossible to ignore that it makes me wonder why so many people torture themselves with speculation over what happens after we die. It just so happens that numerous texts that line up with each other and modern NDEs have it mapped out verbatim. It's no wonder that years before, Plato felt it was so important to dedicate his earthly life to a practical philosophy, being in an age and setting before the arrival of Christ. The ideals embodied and dedicated to self-sacrifice and service to others was found in Stoicism, a cornerstone of Greek philosophy and a surefire way of ridding ourselves of potential mental parasites while still wearing a temporary human suit. In Gnosticism, the archons, or rulers of this realm, are parasitical because they sustain themselves by keeping human people mentally weak and thus easy to contain. However, the popular term used for this is looshing. It is important to note that the so-called term loosh is never mentioned in Gnostic text, or any other ancient text for that matter. How this term found its way into the Gnostic conversation is actually far more interesting. Robert Monroe directed studies on out-of-body experiences that were compiled in his 1985 book,
Okay, yeah.
Unfortunately, it was echoing, but
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to cut it short. Can you hear me?
What we just looked at.
I'm gonna have to cut it short now, man.
You there?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Huh?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
hear you.
Yeah. Well, let's cut it short. Let's cut it right here, man. That was pretty interesting. Unfortunately, it was echoing, so the sound is not all that great, but I can still make it out though.
Oh no?
Very informative. Well,
Right.
my last words is we made the Canoma, and so now when we wake up, we can rule in the Canoma, and then we once we're through and we move on, we just go back to where we came from, which we never left anyway. So we just return back to our regular scheduled operation in the Pleroma. Not that this isn't it now.
Right. That was it.
But it's a great unfolding. So enjoy, enjoy it while it lasts.
Right, right.
Because
For real though.
once the emptiness is over, it's over. You won't go back to it again for a long time.
Right. Okay,
That's it.
so once we pass the 12th aeon, it's over.
Yeah.
And no, but it goes back to the first aeon or the original aeon,
Hmm.
and then it starts all over again, basically.
Yeah. Then
I
some
mean,
say that we just go through the first luminary and the three eons on that luminary, and then we go back. Then we go back into the triad. We go and be with the Father and the Mother and the Son forever.
well, you talking about the fullness.
Hmm? Yeah.
Well, of
And
course, we're never not in the fullness. But what I'm saying is
no,
like,
well, I'm not talking about in the full. I'm talking about the triad, the from which everything, the fullness is emanated from.
I thought the fullness was emanated from the
It's
oxygen.
emanated from the monad. I mean, everything is pouring out of the monad. Okay, the forethought and the oxygens. They
I thought the monad was in the pleroma.
the monad is something beyond the pleroma. The pleroma is
Yeah,
being
because the monad is the
ultimate reality.
unbegotten Father, right? The unbeing being
The,
Father, the unbegotten
yeah,
Father, the unbeing Father,
the unknowable Father.
right? But it's
Okay,
not a being.
yeah, and so everything's being emanated. It was able to emanate uh, its first thought without fracturing itself, without causing a fracture.
Because he did it in fullness.
Yeah, and so the divine spark, I don't think is going to go all the way back around again. I think once we've gone through the emptiness and then return back to the first luminary and go through those three eons, we can go back, we can go into the triad, but we'll be going as something um, different than everything coming out of it because we're going through the emptiness. Everything coming out of it hasn't gone through the emptiness. So we'll be going into it knowing both. And what kind of emanation comes from that, who knows? So it's a never ending story.
Well, yeah, we were talking about it for eons and eons and eons and eons and eons and eons, beyond eons and more eons. So yeah, my last words is like just gnosis is giving me great inspiration, man. That's all I say. It lets me know that we imagine from the point of the oxygen,
Hmm.
and we can imagine the universe or whatever we want it to be. Because from the universe perspective, that's just what what we're actually what we're actually emanating from as an eon, which that lives within that. That's in that, not the other way around. We're not in the universe. The
Hmm.
universe is in the fullness.
Hmm.
or of the universe is the emanation or a byproduct of the fullness,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
So now they're coming to realize that these certain um, states of the cosmos, like plasmum. If you ever heard of
Hmm.
that concept, plasma, like they
Yeah.
have
That's what.
one right. They have one that's right next to the moon, and they're saying it's a sentient being that the governments of the planet have already always known, and that's what's coming out a lot of like right now. Like the truth is coming out, and they've already disclosed it in America. They just under uh, publicized it. They under publicized it, and they disclosed everything. Even the CIA released some of the stuff that they released were redacted like a motherfucker. But they released so much stuff that just confirms what brothers that they was brothers and sisters that have been in this movement for years telling y'all this shit, and now the CIA confirms it. Now y'all believe it now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
to me, I'm looking at all of humanity as all bullshit, and like we was talking about earlier, the only way we're gonna be genuine about our purpose as humans, as basically pawns, I mean humanity, not us. The divine spark is not a pawn,
Mhm.
but
No.
humanity, the divine spark, um, not divine spark, but humanity, the motherfucking demiurge, all that, y'all all pawns. The archons, pawns,
Yeah.
and something
Yeah.
greater than it.
Yeah.
So there it is. That's my last words.
Okay.
We out
Well,
here.
yeah. Good night, America.